My name is Nurul Ani Syafika binti Kasmiral Kairal ID.
My name is Shahrin Humaira binti Syahrul Zaman.
My name is Nurul Najatul Haya binti Jonas.
My name is Nurul Syafika Najwa binti Zakaria.
My name is Nurul Diana Syami binti Muhammad Hafiz.
Hello, my name is Syazwani binti Zakaria.
My name is Nurin Shazah Rafika binti Nurhisha.
Our group got the second question, which is the price of fish in Malaysia will normally soar during end of year. Explain the reason and show appropriate diagram to show why the price increase. So, we choose two articles which is related to our question. The first article is Northern monsoon cause high in fish price, and the second article is fish price higher compared to previous China New Year. What is economy? Economy have two perspective. First, conventional perspective. Number two is Islamic perspective. For conventional perspective, number one is study and how people and society organize scarce and limited resources to produce good and service to satisfy unlimited human wants with the main objective of maximizing profit. At this point, economic studies how society use limited resources to meet unlimited wants, making choice about what to produce, how, and for whom, based on supply and demand. Point number two is conventional economic system lack direction in carrying out economic operation, therefore they create their own principle to serve as a guideline. Conventional system prioritize profit but ignore social issue. So government create rules like tax or regulation to correct the market failures and ensure fairness.
Okay, from Islamic perspective, the objective of all economic activities is achievement of al-falah, which means prosperity in the world and in the hereafter and the blessing of Allah. Economics is a social science which studies the economic problems faced by people with the primary objective being is to attain the blessing of Allah. That means that all the things that we do is for us to get a blessing from Allah. Second one, which is use Al-Quran and the supporting source is Al-Sunnah as a main reference for economic activities. Okay, so for this point, that means that everything that we do is based on Al-Quran and Al-Sunnah.
Demand in economic means more than just wanting something. It's the desire to purchase a good plus the willingness and ability to pay for it at a certain time. For example, if you want to buy a new phone but you can't afford it, so it's not the actual demand. So there's the law of demand, which say when the goods of price is increased, the quantity demand will decrease. It's assuming all other factors stay the same. That's what we call ceteris paribus. This shows an inverse relationship between price and quantity demand. As price goes up, people buy less, and when price goes down, people buy more.
I will explain about the supply. Supply refers to the producer's ability and willingness to offer different quantities of goods or services for sale at a given price and within a specific time period. According to the law of supply, when the price of a good increases, the quantity supply will also increase, assuming that all other factors remain constant, which means ceteris paribus. This might happen because higher price provide an incentive for producers to supply more in order to gain higher profits. Therefore, there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supply. That means, as the price rises, so does the quantity producer are willing to supply.
Market equilibrium is a condition where quantity demand and quantity supply are equal. This balance is shown at the point where the demand curve and the supply curve intersect, which we call point E0. The price at this intersection is called the equilibrium price, labeled as PE, and the quantity exchanged in the market is the equilibrium quantity labeled as Q.
This point shows the intersection between the supply curve SO and the demand curve DO, meaning this is where both of the quantity supply and quantity demanded are equal. This point is known as the stability point because market equilibrium is achieved here and there is no tendency for the price or quantity to change unless it affected by external factors.
I will speak about monsoon seasons, which is according to the article from New Straits Times, which is the title is Northeast Monsoon Causes Hike in Fish Prices. During the monsoons, which is typically always happen from November to February, significantly limits local fishermen's abilities to operate due to bad weather. So that means that leads to a decline in fish landings, which directly affects the entire supply chains. So this means that the supplier will not get enough fresh fish. Because of bad weather such as strong winds or heavy rains, so they can go to the sea and they can get a lot of fish, so it will affect the entire supply chains. Okay, so with fewer fish catches, the availability of fresh fish in markets will drop, and prices have been obsessed to rise up by to 50%, especially in states like Kelantan, which is always happens monsoons. But fish supply is still enough because LYKM, which is the Fishery Development Authority of Malaysia, and also the Department of Fisheries are proactively take action such as keep frozen fish stocks and do fish farming, which is aquaculture. But that still means that we don't get enough fresh fish. So it's still the same. Demand will still increase because people will search for fresh fish, but the suppliers can get enough fresh fish. Okay, so for this diagram, it shows the market before monsoon season. The fish market is still operates normally because there are no bad weather that fishermen can go to the sea. So as shown here, it's the supply curve S0 and demand curve D0 intersect at equilibrium, which is E0. For this diagram, it shows that during the before monsoon seasons, the market still have a lot of fresh fish and it's still available in many markets. So that means that equilibrium price P0 and quantity Q0 remain stable. As for this diagram, it shows that during monsoons, fish supply will drop because as what I mentioned before, it happens because of bad weather. Because when there's a bad weather, fishermen can go to the sea to catch a lot of fresh fish. As the diagram shows here, the supply will curve shift to the left S0 to S1, but demand stay the same. This means that shortage will happen at the fish market because people will still search for fresh fish, but suppliers cannot get enough fresh fish to send to the market.
As for this diagram, the price of fish increased from PO to P1 during the monsoon season. The increase is due to decrease in fish supply caused by the first monsoon, which made it difficult for fishermen to go to sea because of heavy rain and strong wind. The supply curve shift from SO to S1 as a result of the decreased supply of fish. This leftward shift indicates that at every price level, the quantity of fish supplied has feelings. Next, decrease in quantity. As supplies decrease, the quantity of fish available in the market drop from QO to Q1. There is less fish available in the market, leading to shortage. The last diagram for monsoon season is new equilibrium shift from EO to E1. The new equilibrium after the supply decrease shift from EU, which is the original equilibrium, to E1, the new equilibrium. The movement from EO to E1 is caused by the shift in the supply curve from SO to S1, which lead to a higher price from PO to P1 and lower quantity from QO to Q1. As a result of the monsoon, supply decreased, which creates a shortage in the market. The price increased due to the reduced supply. As supply drops, price rise from PO to P1 and the quantity of fish available decreased from QO to Q1. The market responds to the shortage by adjusting the price at a new equilibrium level at E1.
Next, I will explain about changes in demand for Chinese New Year. The first diagram, before Chinese New Year, the demand for fish remains at a normal level. At this stage, the market is in equilibrium at point E0, where the demand curve is at D0, intersect with the supply curve S0. The price is stable at P0 and the quantity of fish demanded is Q0. There are no significant changes in consumer buying behavior yet. The diagram shows us that during Chinese New Year, the demand for fish increases significantly as many families prepare traditional meals and buy fish as a part of their celebration. This causes the demand to shift to the right from D0 to D1. As a result, both the price and quantity of fish increases and creating a new equilibrium at a high level.
So the price of the fish increased from P0 to P1. This is because due to Chinese New Year, many people buy fish on one time, which causes to demand higher than supply. So the quantity demand also increased from Q0 to Q1. So as a result, the market reaches a new equilibrium point, which is the new equilibrium shifts from E0 to E1, where the price increases to P1 and the quantity traded rises to Q1.
Last but not least, I want to explain about the changes in demand, supply, and the effects on market equilibrium if demand and supply curve shift simultaneously. For example, we take article during Chinese New Year and monsoon season where it happens at the same time, which is at the end of the year. Diagram shows the market before the significant impacts of Chinese New Year and monsoon season where the fish market is stable. At this point, the original demand curve D0 and the original supply curve S0 intersect at an initial equilibrium point E0. This means that at this equilibrium point E0, quantity demand of fresh fish D0 is equal to quantity supply S0 as shown in the diagram, which equilibrium quantity QE and equilibrium price PE. In simple way, this diagram represents the stable state of the fish market in Malaysia during normal period. Towards the end of the year, Chinese New Year season is the main reason why more people suddenly want to buy fish. This will lead to increases in demand of fresh fish in the market. For your information, for Chinese culture, fish is super important because they trust fish is as a symbolize of good luck, having lots of good things, and being rich. Moreover, during Chinese New Year, families gather for big festive and special dinner. During and their main dish is fish for their Chinese New Year celebrations. This means that more people going to the markets at the same time to buy fresh fish for their festive meals. When demand for fish increase, the demand curve will shift to the right from D0 to D1. This will cause a shortage happens when the quantity demand for fish increase from D0 to D1. Indirectly, the price for fish also will increase from P0 to P1 as shown in the diagram beside. This will lead to a new equilibrium point E1. Even the prices of fresh fish highly increase. Consumers are willing to buy more. As a result, due to the higher demand for fresh fish, the fish prices will increase due to the strong demand but limited supply. At the same time as the high demand during Chinese New Year, the Malaysian fish market also faces problems with supply because of the monsoon season at the end of the year. As mentioned in the article, this period of heavy rainfall and rough seas make it hard for fishermen to go out and catch fish. So, there's a less fish available in the market, and this shortage is one of the reasons why fish prices increase. Because the fishermen can't go to catch the fish, it will lead to the decrease in fish supply market. When the less fish available in the market due to the monsoon season, the supply curve will shift to the left from S0 to S1. When the quantity supply for fish decrease from S0 to S1 due to the monsoon season, indirectly, the price of fish will increase because there are less supply in the market. So this will lead to a new equilibrium point, which is from E0 to E1. As a result, fishermen and suppliers are now willing to offer small quantity of fish but in the higher prices. Both demand and supply curve change happen at the same time because of high demand of Chinese New Year and low supply of monsoon season. At the same time, the fish market is strongly affected. This will cause both supply and demand curve shift simultaneously. This means demand curve will shift to the right, D0 to D1, and supply curve will shift to the left from S0 to S1. As a result, equilibrium quantity will remain the same at Q1 equal to Q0, but the price equilibrium will increase highly as shown in the diagram from P0 to P1. As a result, consumers must pay more for fish during the festive season than before to the higher prices from the supplier or from the seller. And the demand and supply curve shift simultaneously means that the demand increase and the supply decrease. This will make the price of fish increase highly than the normal